Going well. I always remember when I did not understand how I used to stand under all the fool's rules running these lands. I had my head in the sand and I was asleep. Now I learn a little more every day and I'm waking the sheep. Gonna say it out loud, say it proud, get it out, 'cause I'm burning inside, cannot hide it no more. I'm a raconteur too. Yeah, I'm a raconteur too. Oh, I'm a raconteur too. Oh, the people in the chat room singing. Oh, I'm a raconteur too. One more time now. Oh, I'm a raconteur too. Good evening. Welcome to Raconteurs News number 194. That's 194 shows that we've done. Still going strong. We've been nearly 2 years we've been at this, and we've had us ups and downs, but we are still here and still going strong. Hope you're okay at home. Wherever you're listening, you can listen to us on RACOnteursNews.com for the time being. Anyway, a little bit of an announcement later on from Andy from that point of view. And of course, we're on Facebook Live, and we're also on Spreaker.com/users/Raconteurs News. Well, what we got for you tonight? Well, it's Jason Holmes. I'm back. Back in the fold, as I promised you last week, and it's been a pretty good week for myself. And I'm glad to say that tonight I'm joined by two of my bestest mates and two of the guys that have helped me through the recent things that I've been going through. We've got Andy Young and we've got Ade Hardy. We're going to have Paul Webster as well if he wakes up in time. But anyway, good evening, fellas. Good evening, Andy. Good evening, Ade.
Evening. Hiya, mate. Yeah, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll actually send Webby a text message in case he's nodded off or fell asleep in the middle of his dinner.
It's probably something he's done.
Yeah, what before I do that, I would like to make that announcement pretty much at the start, because I've been meaning to make it for the last few shows and I get so wrapped up in things I just forget about it. So but it's due to the new GDPR, I think it's called, European Data Protection Regulations, running your own website has now become a complete nightmare, especially if you want to collect a list of names and send them emails. So in light of that, and in light of the fact that our website gets very little use and it's becoming quite a draining task to maintain it, we're going to give it a try without a website. So you'll still be able to find us on Spreaker.com/user/Raconteurs News. We'll still be on Facebook Live, and you'll be able to, the main output, probably the best quality output, will be YouTube Live every week. So as of the end of Tuesday night show, I shall be taking the website down, and we'll see how we go without it, but I can't see us having it back because to be honest, it's a bit surplus to requirements.
Sorry about that, everybody. I've got my dog in background. Watson, little twat he is. He's just come in. Of course, what he does is he comes in when I've just got on radio. We've got all my stuff downstairs now, obviously, because I'm a bit of a spastic and I can't get upstairs. So everything's downstairs so that I can continue with my incredible broadcasting career. And then I've got a dog that brings a bone in on a laminate flooring and starts chucking it about like a bell end. I really must apologise for that. Watson, you naughty boy. Okay, that's him told anyway. Yeah. So yeah, that's it's a shame about the website. We may go back, or we may just perhaps just have a skeleton website, perhaps a free, just one place that we can just post things up on there. But it's like you say, the amount of effort that it's going to take to comply with the regulations, it's probably not worth people having a website, and that's probably what it's been done for anyway, because then it moves people into social media, and then where people can be censored, and people also they've got people looking out for what sort of stuff they're posting, and being able to bring in more regulations to make that illegal. So it's a shame, but yeah, we will be getting rid of the website, but you'll still be able to find us. We'll still have a presence on social media. What about you, Ade? You've been under weather the last few weeks. How are you feeling, my friend? Long time no gig.
Yeah, I've had a bit of a dilemma with, do you feel crap, or do you take tablets which are supposed to help you, but they make you feel crap? And I'm kind of striking a bit of a balance between the two, and I'm like sort of feeling crap and knackered because I've got a dodgy ticker, and taking the tablets when I have to. But I've got a scan on Wednesday, so hopefully things should start moving forward a bit from Wednesday, and we should know where we're going with it.
That's the problem, though, isn't it? You think things are going to start moving forward when you're with the NHS, when you're reliant on the NHS, which most people are. Let's face it, there's only very few people that can afford to have private health care, and particularly if they've not got insurance. And then it's just going to. So when you're dependent on them, and you do think things are starting to happen, it sometimes you find that things don't happen in the way that you figured they were going to happen, and you find yourself falling behind, and things perhaps being worse than they could have been if they'd have been addressed at the time.
Yeah, I mean, I have sort of found that really now it is up to you to do your own research on whatever's wrong with you, because whichever doctors or whatever you deal with, they've got a very, very tiny amount of time to tell you something. And they certainly haven't got time to explain what they've just told you. And I found that, you know, I put a call into some, I think it was the Arrhythmia Association, who told me more about the condition that I've got than any doctor did.
Okay, have we lost you?
I know, I'm here.
All right, okay. I thought we'd lost you. Sorry, go on.
No, you know, so it wasn't the NHS that particularly told me about what I'd got, and give me any extra info. But, you know, I'm going for this scan. Let's see what he says, and let's see what he comes up with as a plan.
Well, and Andy, what about you? What sort of what medical thing can you tell us about it? We're all sitting here like three old fellas, and you're like the guy, one of the guys off Cocoon or something like that. Has been swimming with some alien eggs, and you know, he's feels 30 years younger. How are you?
No, mate, touch wood, at the minute I'm doing pretty well. I've always got my old knackered back syndrome and one or two other little ailments, but for me I'm doing pretty okay. I must admit, my heart goes out to everyone who's suffering with this heat, because it's bloody hot for this country. I know my young lady, my better half, she's really suffering, and so's her daughter, and I just see so many people suffering with this, and it's going to get hotter. I've seen forecasts for the 3rd of August of 38 degrees Celsius, which, yeah, that's a record. It beats 2005 when it was 36.5, I believe, and it even beats 1976. So yeah, it's pretty difficult to stay cool and chilled out, but just do your best, folks. You know, drink a nice glass of water and keep yourself cool. As you know, Webby's really our carer. I'm speaking on. I better text him before I forget that, because I've remembered to say we're deleting the website, but I didn't remember to text Webby, so I'll text Webby now
and find out. I've got to say, I've not really been affected by this heat because, well, I've been stuck indoors for a lot of it. But I have noticed today that I'm sweating a bit like John Leslie when his wife's going through his phone. So I'm not. It is really hot today. I've noticed how hot it is today. But we got the fan downstairs, and it's one of them oscillating fans, and I like to sit in front of it and ask it questions that it's going to answer no to. While it's oscillating from side to side. I'll
tell you what though, and I might just be a conspiracy kind of guy, but when I was a kid, we used to have summer, and we just had summer, and some years it was hotter than others. Now we have a heat wave, and the Met Office or whoever it is issuing warnings that we're not supposed to go out between 11 in the morning and 3 in the afternoon, and it's just somewhere else they can hang some fear on. We used to have a windy day, and now we have Hurricane Gilbert because we're supposed to be scared of it. And it's just like any chance of them coming up with a reason for the rest of us to be scared of something and have fear, or they just absolutely latch onto it. And it becomes, oh, did you know we've got Hurricane Gilbert, and we've got Storm Sarah? We used to have a windy day. We used to have a bit of rain on a Sunday. Now they've all got names.
Yeah, I don't know if you've noticed that, Jason. We've got James, Linda, and Doug on Facebook saying that they can hear you quite clearly, but the rest of us sound a bit distant.
Yeah, I'm going to try and see if I can do something about that. So you carry on talking, and then let me see if we can make things a little bit better.
Yeah, well, I was just saying to Ade, I noticed there was a little number popped up in my head the other day when I was thinking about this hot spell we're having. Now, we're told that it's the hottest summer since 1976, and may indeed eclipse 1976. And I got thinking, intervals, numbers. What's the difference between 1976 and 2018? And lo and behold, you get that strange number 42, a number that was supposed to be the answer to life, the universe, and everything, according to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And I thought, I wonder if there's any sort of reasoning behind that, or whether it's just pure coincidence. As obviously I'm a coincidence theorist. I just thought it was an interesting number.
I just think we should start calling you Marvin.
The paranoid android.
Yeah. Brain the size of a planet. Well, maybe not in your case, but...
All right, God the size of a planet, then.
There you go, yeah. Yeah, but, and funnily enough, I mean, it's also, is it the 29th, I think it is? It's NASA's birthday. I think it's 60 years. 60 years for NASA. And, how much money have they spent on not really going anywhere and not really doing much?
Well, and also it's the, hang on, what is it, 49th anniversary of supposedly landing a man on the moon.
Oh, that moon you mean? Which
moon?
Yeah, that one, yeah.
The one that's a film set in Elstree, you mean?
That's the one, yeah. The Stanley Kubrick moon, you mean?
Yeah. There's so much strange going on with that moon landing. I mean, I've talked to a lot of people who were involved at various levels with rocketry programs over the years, and they get really upset when you say about not going to the moon, because like, you're insulting all those brave men. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wireless. For God's sake. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry about that. I've just plugged this thing in, and it just... it's now trying to reconnect, and it's saying wireless, and I've got it hooked up. I've got it wired up. I've not got it on wireless.
Oh, okay.
Perhaps I need to change that. Anyway, you carry on. I'll turn my mic down.
Okay, I'll just message him on Facebook that you're trying to sort it out.
I did think of something we could ask people to get involved in on the chat room. And I always think that NASA should stand for never a straight answer. But if anybody else has got any other ideas about what NASA should stand for, then
you back to the days of Columbia. Need another 7 astronauts?
Well, yeah, but I mean, again, there's another one. You know, 6 of those astronauts that are supposed to be dead are not dead, and they're alive and kicking and doing other jobs. And 3 of them haven't even bothered to change the names or declare that they're actually their unknown twin.
Right. So anybody in the let me. Oh, in fact, I'll just do it myself. Carry on.
You just nearly blasted my windows out when you leaned into the mic there, Jace. What I'll do for the Facebookers is give them the YouTube link, and then if they're having trouble listening, they should be able to click on that.
Is this because we're not using Skype or anything, or is it?
I think it's just Facebook being a pain in the arse like it usually is.
Mm-hmm.
It's because I've not plugged in a wire which was giving me, which we're going to put in sound through the Facebook. It was putting me through, but it wasn't putting you through, so they could hear me because it was going directly through. Rather than going through my mixer, it was going directly through the laptop, and they could only hear you through my laptop. Anyway,
yeah.
Hopefully it should be okay by now. It should be okay now. So
if somebody could let us know, that'd be good.
Yeah. Oh, we've got James Lenny just logged in on Facebook. Evening, Owen, a big vitamin L. Oh, yeah, we all need plenty of that vitamin L. We're getting plenty of vitamin D3 from the Phoebe up in the sky there, but we certainly need our vitamin L. That's what makes the world go round, isn't it?
Is it L for lager?
L for leather.
Lager?
L for love.
Yeah. But don't forget, you need some cholesterol before your body will turn sunlight into vitamin D3. But we've all got to be on statins so that we don't have any cholesterol.
Oh, yeah.
And, of course, what's your brain made up of?
Cholesterol.
Yeah, it's amazing how there's so much dementia in the world, isn't it?
Well, dementia's now the #1 killer, we're told, in Western society, which seems to be, a bit of a coincidence when you've got taking drugs to remove it, because the doctors are now saying they want everybody to be on statins and even children to start taking them before they show any signs of anything that might require them to take them.
Oh, my God. Do you know, it really is, Stu? It's just scary, isn't it?
It absolutely is, yeah.
And then when you sort of start to talk about this to people who are normal, they just look at you as if to say, are you mad? Yeah, I think, well, actually, no, I'm not, but I'm beginning to think that you're blind.
Yeah.
Because if you can't see what's going on, I mean, just simple things like what I've just said in one sentence. People on statins, your brain to lower cholesterol.
Mm-hmm.
And cholesterol is what, makes your brain. It's what your brain's made up of. And then we get dementia. No dots to be joined up there then.
No, absolutely. While we're just waiting for Webby to show up, I'd like to read out a few of the comments that we're getting on YouTube, because we've had some brilliant comments on there. There's 0112358 Stewie. We don't do epidurals on Friday. Fucking typical. Mucho respect for Jason. And then he goes on to tell what's happened to him. There's an awful lot of comments bigging up Jason, and thanks for all of those folks. I'm sure it's greatly appreciated. Then we've got one from Daniel Hay, who's subscribed. He says, love the show, lads, but the stuff about nurses is horseshit. I watched my wife sweat through a degree for 3 years. Multiple exams and placements, bloods, IVs, anatomy training, non-stop studying. While I agree that they're tied up in a lot of bureaucracy and paperwork these days, to say that they are less qualified than a fitness instructor is insulting and pure bollocks. Keep up the good work. I think he's referring to that remark I read out from, I think it's Papa Bear, who's a regular in the chat room, and he'd said about nurses having less knowledge than a fitness instructor, which he was. So that's his opinion, and that's what we read out. There's a really interesting take on the Francis Richard Connolly interview, and it's from Joy and Kindness. And the two comments are, in the 1970s, our government said there was a possibility of a second shooter, so at least they admitted it then. And the other comment is, most of what people call new information used to be taught in American schools in the 1980s. My granddad believed that people in power were behind JFK's death. So that to me is quite a fascinating idea, that what we're calling new information, really the shooting of JFK, is actually stuff they used to teach in schools in the 1970s in the States.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's the old book burning thing by the Nazis, isn't it? You know, it's and it's just whatever is being taught, there's a reason for it, and the reason isn't that it's fact. The reason is that somebody somewhere benefits from the masses being fed some piece of information.
Are you still there, Ade?
I'm still here, yeah.
I thought you'd frozen. Go on, carry on.
No, that's pretty much what I wanted to say, you know. But I think it's.
I think that's an oversimplification of it. I think that is. I think what happens is they just chuck some shit out there, and they see how people react to it, and then they react in the way that people react. You know, no, I don't mean like in the same way, but they mirror. They react in certain ways. Let me just turn my thing down so I can hear it coming through somewhere. My mic down. But they react in a different way, but they don't just. I think what you're saying is a bit of an oversimplification, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, but the point is that we're not told the truth. We're told whatever is good for us to be told, but what we believe and for somebody else's benefit. And it always comes back to who benefits.
I've got an interesting one on the who benefits side. I got a very strange messenger conversation on Facebook today. I had this account friend request, so I added them. And hello, how are you? In a slightly not natural, not first language version of English. And I thought, okay, yeah, see where this goes. And the question was asked, have you heard of the Illuminati? So I said, yes.
Chill. And
then I got the question, how did you hear about us? So I thought, okay. So then, like, what are your dreams and desires? And I thought, this is getting a bit weird. So there, ostensibly on the face of it, I'm getting an invitation to join the Illuminati so that I can achieve my dreams and desires. So I thought, oh, okay. So I replied in the next message, yeah, well, what I'm really striving to do is to expose and bring down the corruption and genocide that's been perpetrated on humanity by those who pull the strings from behind the scenes. Is that something you can help with? And strangely enough, I haven't had a reply yet. So I think the conversation might be over.
You see what you should have asked for, right? you should have said, listen, you fucking sort me out with your lifetime supply of Crocs and, you know, tracksuits and that sort of thing, and I'll be all right. I'll be part of Illuminati. I'll do what you want. What do you want me to do? I mean, what? It's come on. Let's face it. What do they want you to do? Will you join the Illuminati? Yes, I'll join. Right. Okay. Now what do I do?
Oh no, they didn't want me to do. They were going to do stuff for me, which I thought was pretty fucking big. I'm sure that's how Adam Weishaupt imagined it all when he started it all off there in Bavaria.
Well, listen, I've had some problem with the Facebook Live thing again. It's cut me off again a couple of times. So everybody's people have been cut off and we're missing. So Facebook Live's back on. Just go on my channel. I couldn't be asked to write all that shit out again, so I just didn't bother. So I think Facebook's just fucking us about, and we're probably better off on the Google Hangouts anyway. So we'll probably give Facebook a wide berth. And if we do that, I think I'm just going to get rid of it completely altogether, and perhaps you know, set up an account at somewhere else.
There's quite a few new social media sites come online. There's like this Steam It, and there's that on Stella that we're supposed to be promoting as we're influencers. That's for all things out of the mainstream, I think. I think personally it's more for UFOs and paranormal than for a lot of stuff we look at, but there's some interesting content on there, and if you're quite active and post original content on there, they will actually give you some of their cryptocurrencies, so you actually get paid for doing it. I know Max Egan said he'd made a tidy few quid on a video that he posted on BitTube, I think it was, and shared it on Steam It. So Facebook do bugger all apart from harvest all your data and flog it to wherever they can, and then bombard you with adverts, claiming that that's how they pay for the service, is through adverts.
Well, I mean, Facebook, it's I think it's dying a slow death in it. I mean, the only people that are going to be left on it are going to be the people that were, you know, young teenage kids that and it'll probably end up being just some sort of dating site, you know, and move to something else. But there'll always be something else that they'll catch them with. Who knows what the next thing will be? I can't really even imagine what the next big pile of dog shit is going to be that they're going to force down his throats.
Have you seen the latest TV? Well, it's just an advert, really, that Facebook have got going on, telling you how they're changing. You know, we didn't come here for so that you could fish our data. We didn't come here for this. So Facebook listened, and Facebook's changing. What a load of shit.
Yeah, it is. It is a load of shit. You know, it's like everything on TV is a load of shit. It's just an utter load of shit.
Penny Tommy's actually just posted on Facebook, no sound, Andy. Facebook must be blocking your sound. So,
yeah.
There you go.
There we go. Well, we just need to look at the other thing then, don't we? What, we on YouTube?
Yeah, Google Hangouts.
Yeah, if you just go to Google and click search Raconteurs News, and then if you subscribe to a channel and if you click the little bell symbol, it will give you notifications whenever we have a live show on there, whenever we post anything new. So that'll keep you in touch with what we're doing, as I really don't trust Facebook to do that. They seem to be really limiting the reach of our posts just lately. Yeah. Well, we all know they do that, don't we?
Yeah, we know that. They've been doing that for ages, but they seem to have gone overboard now. And there's so much mixed up as well. The word fake news has been bandied about, and now it can be attached to any single thing that you want to say. Someone just says fake news. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter what it is. Someone just says fake news, and that's it. It's in people's psyche. It's more and more controlled, over the top nonsense that's. I'm astounded, actually. People are taken in by.
The other one I heard today as well was they're now trying to legally enforce a definition of anti-Semitism.
Oh, right.
And ironically, it was the Labour Party that were doing it.
Yeah, because that makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I just noticed on YouTube, for all of those of you who are struggling to hear us, Robert Lund said we're loud and clear on YouTube, all three of us. And regarding your possible alternative acronyms for NASA, I think it's Tony there. He's got not another satanic agenda.
Love it.
North American sanctimonious arseholes.
Yeah, love that one too. Yeah.
Is that it?
That's all we've got so far. But that's not bad. It's better than the shit that I came up with. Never a straight answer.
Yeah.
Well, it is just shit anyway, isn't it? We know that. Hello to Alicat George. Oh, we've got no sound, guys. I don't know why. What is wrong with this fucking thing? Oh, I bet it's the mic in. Okay. Let's see if that's any better. See, people are coming onto the Facebook page and there's no sound. I need to sort that nonsense out.
Can you just put a post pointing them towards YouTube?
Well, somebody's put that. Andy's put that in already.
I've put the link in there. I just said try the YouTube link because it's perfect there.
Yeah, the stuff with NASA, I mean, 60 years, but there is now so much. I mean, even just on YouTube, if you just put in NASA or NASA fraud or NASA conspiracy or NASA hoax or moon hoax, or there's pages and pages and pages of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's not just a load of tin hatters. You know, there's some really, really, really interesting stuff. And I don't just mean about the moon. You know, I mean, stuff that's supposed to be in the International Space Station and stuff like that. And you look at it and you just think, well, I know we can't believe anything that's a photograph because you can do anything with a photograph. And nowadays you can do anything with layering, with graphics and, you know, and they're not even trying hard. They're not even trying to put quality stuff on out.
When they're supposed to be in 0G, you can see wires that are holding them up. And you can also see things that are supposed to be spacewalks, and you can see the fucking bubbles rising to the surface.
The best one, I actually watched one yesterday, and I've seen it before. And they were reading out, it was somebody in the IS, it was supposed to be on the International Space Station. And it was a schoolgirl that had asked a question. And the so-called astronaut actually sat there and said, well, he gave the answer to the question. He said something like, yes, and that's live from here in the USA where we're sat right now. He actually admitted that they weren't up in the Space Center, in the International Space Center. And you just think, well, you know, they're not even trying hard, are they?
No. I see Tony's saying that he's chewing his nuts at the moment. So all I can say is take care, Tony. Hope you don't get pubes stuck in your teeth. Oh, Paul Mirage Channel 2. Never ask Satan answers. Oh, never ask Satan answers. NASA. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. There's loads of them. You should be able to have loads of fun with it. But I just can't believe that. Well, actually, I can. And I'll tell you why. When you go to the States and you meet quite a lot of the people out there, Americans do tend to be patriotic. Not all by any means, but they do have a bigger tendency towards being patriotic than, say, the Brits. But not only that, they're easily excitable. You know, you can watch an American quiz show from, I don't know, 20 years ago, and you watch a UK quiz show from 20 years ago, and the UK one was a bit, you know, sort of subdued. But the American one, everybody gets really excited about winning a box of matches. And I think because they are quite excitable and have been used to being believed what they're told, it's almost like nobody wants to admit that they've been duped. Whereas the Brits seem to be a bit more cynical and a bit more open to the truth, if you like, or somebody else having a different idea that they might just want to listen to.
Do you reckon? Because if you're talking about this nation, this island that we live on, the people being more broad-minded than other section of the world, it doesn't really tally with my experiences of going out into the world just like. Yeah, there's me still. Whenever I do a supermarket shop, I just stand in the queue and I look at people and I think, yeah, we're fucked.
Yeah. No, I just think that the Americans, who obviously get a lot more NASA shoved down the neck than we do, because they do have a tendency to be more patriotic, and because they do find it easier to get sort of swept along with the enthusiasm of a group taking part in something. But yeah, how the hell have NASA got away with this bullshit for so long? Because at the end of the day, the people who get excited about it, the Americans, it's their money they're wasting because they're being taxed, and it's their money that's being spent.
Yeah.
Yeah, but as long as an American can wave a flag about, have a barbecue, watch some NASCAR, get pissed, they're not bothered. They're not bothered whether they're being raped and fucked up arse by a government that is spending the money on making cartoons and saying, look how good we are. We've just made this thing in space and it's just done this very good thing in space. Oh, it's just impregnated a moon and there's going to be lots of little moons coming out of this other moon because that's what we've done and because we're that good here. And everyone just goes, oh, yeah, well, I could see a light up in sky going across sky at night. That must be space station. And fucking gullibles come out.
It was
the dictionary on it.
It always gets me on the 4th of July as well, how they all celebrate the 4th of July, you know. I mean, they were criminals. You know, the guys who kind of went to King George and said, you're not the boss of us anymore, they were criminals. So there they are, people who are getting all excited about democracy when the people that they're actually celebrating are the criminals.
Well, here's the thing. You see, I see so many Americans on social media saying, but we live in a democracy.
No, they don't.
And I'm thinking, well, hang on. As far as your declaration of whatever it is, it says you don't. It's a what is it? It's supposed to be a republic, isn't it?
Republic, I think. Yeah.
And I think those people actually need to read their constitution and see what really is going on there. Because, well,
I still go back to the one that makes me laugh every time I hear it, which is leader of the free world. Well, if I'm being led, it's not free. It's an oxymoron. And if people can't even see that, you know, they announce the American president as the leader of the free world. There is no such thing. It just isn't.
Well, you talk about being led, and I think anyone who chooses to pay any heed to the mainstream media is certainly being led by the nose. because I don't know if you noticed, Mr. Flump's been over to visit Vlad the Bad.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And
they invited him for a cup of tea, apparently.
He's been called everything from a treasonous traitor to a rapist to God knows what else, and he's absolutely evil. And you're getting figures from inside the establishment, figures from inside the security services stating this. Yet, when any previous American president met any of the Russian presidents, it was always a good thing. It was trying to secure world peace. And if there is going to be anything resembling world peace, I think we're more likely to get it off Trump than we are on any of the tosses we've had since, well, at least going back to JFK. I'm seeing a bit of an interesting dynamic there, and particularly stuff I've seen about him wanting to share information with Russia and joint projects. It's almost looking like an echo of what JFK said and announced publicly 10 days before they shot him.
Well, who knows? I mean, JFK, I believe, was the last real president we ever had in America. Everybody since has just purely been a puppet.
Mm-hmm.
Trump included, but if you're stepping outside the box, who knows? But I'm certainly not going to hold my breath on that one. If they wanted world peace, it'd be dead easy. Just get rid of the puppet masters.
But just send all the armies home.
Yeah.
You see, that's the thing. They don't want world peace.
Of course
well,
they don't.
They don't want world peace, right? They want world war, but they don't want world war, if you know what I mean. They don't want to all destroy each other because they think, well, let's just have it. So they end up having these proxy wars in like Syria and Yemen and things like that. And so it's all just a load of bollocks, and it all just sells arms, and that's all they're all into. All they're into is making money, selling arms. The companies that they've got interests in. No, that's Trump. That's everybody. It's all it's the stage show.
Of course it is. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. There's no money in peace. There's no money in curing the homeless problem. There's no money in any of that.
No.
No, well, when you look at, I mean, people say, well, why would the government kill JFK, or why would the powerful men, whoever did it? And I mean, Christ, there's a list longer than both your arms.
Yeah.
He wasn't going to buy the Vietnam War. He wasn't having that. When they tried to invade Cuba and fucked it up and tried to land the blame in his lap, he basically sacked the chief of the CIA, Alan Dulles.
Yeah.
Who then, strangely enough, didn't he play a big part in the Warren Commission?
Yep.
Which
well, he had Washington Airport was named after him, weren't it?
Mm.
Oh, that was named after him, was it? Yeah.
Yeah, Alan Dulles, yeah.
And then you look at things like the UFO file. He was talking about sharing the knowledge of space and all that with the Russians, which obviously those in the military-industrial complex that were making shitloads of money out of this, and also the what appears to have been largely fake Cold War. He wanted to stop that. All of this is just reason after reason after reason to want to kill him. Then you've got the greenback dollar backed by silver.
Yeah.
Taking back control of the issue of currency, which I have actually seen a few headlines on one or two dodgy sites. But is CNBC a proper mainstream site, or is it another one of these crackpot clickbait sites?
No, I think CNBC's pretty mainstream, isn't it? I'm sure it is.
All right. Well, they were saying there was a headline on there yesterday saying that Trump intends to take back control of the Federal Reserve from the Rothschilds. So if he is the man to...
Well, if that's what he said, he's just signed his own death warrant.
Yeah, I would have said so. But if he can do it and carry it off, wow, he's going to be some hero.
Well, he is to the people that actually get what he's done. But the trouble is that 90% of the population won't even have a clue what that means, as long as they can, like Jason said, still go and buy some beers and have a barbecue and wave a flag at something.
Yeah, there is that problem that you're always up against.
Definitely. Just getting off the subject.
He's got no to come. Listen, he's got no to come. I'm just enjoying watching him because he pisses people off. Oh, the people that he pisses off, the very people that I'd like to piss off myself. You know, these Middle England jam making people that wear knitted yogurt and these make their own slippers and things like that. These, I've absolutely no idea about the real world, but think that they do, and they're easily led. You know, these people are easily led. They listen to Radio 4, and there'll be some piece on there about Trump and what a naughty, nasty man he is, and you know, they won't mention Obama getting a Nobel Peace Prize and not having a single day of peace in his 8 years as president. But they'll talk about Trump grabbing hold of, or saying she's going to grab somebody by the pussy. I mean, for God's sake, the hypocrisy is absolutely staggering. And I think that's what we're losing as well. People are losing a sense of hypocrisy. They're losing that sense that you know, that this is hypocritical what this person's saying. Nobody's got that anymore. Because it happens in everyday life, and people get so used to it. You know, you get people saying in your working life, someone will say, well, you know, I'd have done that, or I did all that, I had to do all that. And, you know, they're talking out of their arses, talking out of crap, utter crap. And the hypocrisy of people when they say things and do another thing, it's just fucking staggering. You'll get people that absolutely adore. They'll put pictures of their kids on Facebook and they'll say, oh, I love my kids are my life, oh, this, that, and another. And just completely ignore when several kids are being killed in a different part of the world just because, you know, they can't relate to them. And how can you... They've had that taken out of them. They can't relate to another human being. Yeah. Because they've had that removed from them, because there's barriers been put up in the way of those people relating to each other. First of all, they've got to be suspicious of each other because of the colour. Then they've got to be suspicious of each other, perhaps because they're from next village or whatever. But all these barriers are put up in the way. People are suspicious of each other and they don't communicate, and they'll never bring anybody down because we don't talk to each other. We're suspicious. We're too suspicious.
Unless, of course, they're watching an advert that needs them to donate £3 a month.
Yeah, but you see what all that does, right? Is that's them. They're offsetting that. They think, oh, I've got some obligation here because the advert's telling them you've got an obligation. You can help these people. It's in your hands. That's what they're saying. So then people then think, oh, I've got an obligation. How can I offset this obligation without having to actually fucking do anything? I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll give them £3 a month. Then I'll feel good about myself because I feel like I'm saving fucking people. Because, you know, £3 a month, someone's going to live and have tap water. There'll be about 3 pence out of that £3 a month that'll actually go towards anything other than administrative costs. But you see, the person themselves, the person that's made the donation, they've offset their responsibility as another human being, and instead of going and saying, well, this is wrong, why are these people in this situation, what is going on, why is that, they could just offset that with £3 a month and sleep nice and cozily in bed at night.
Absolutely agree.
I tell you were saying there about a telly advert that gets them to donate £3 a month. I don't see hardly any telly, but I did happen to see something over the weekend, which I saw and I thought, hang on. And I watched it very carefully. It was an advert for the National Lottery. Now, I haven't done the National Lottery for many, many years. I did have a bit of a go when it first came out. And I came to the conclusion that really it's a bit of a tax on stupidity. So I didn't do it anymore. But now they're not appealing to the base greed essentially in folks, and oh look, you could be worth several £100 million next week if you just give us a quid. There was a very, very sneaky ad on there, I thought, and there was a guy probably in his 60s, and he was just saying, well, if I win, I've got 3 good friends and they're so kind and wonderful. I'd be able to, I don't want to win it for me. I just want to. So now they're appealing to the people who you know, really don't want to be rich. They've no desire to be rich, but anybody who's got any friends who aren't quite as rich as they maybe ought to be, they really ought to be doing the national lottery, because if they don't, they're really not looking after their friends.
Yep.
I thought, what an angle.
Yeah. What is it? Who wins if you win or something? They got them. Oh, I think I'd give it to my mum, because my mum's always been there. Yeah, that's the other one, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Fucking unbelievable.
I saw this one with the old guy. You got 3 friends, and I thought, 3 friends, you're a lucky man.
Mm.
It's a tax on people's dreams. People dream about having a lot of money, and so you can tax that. You can tax people's dreams, and that's exactly what the lottery does. It taxes people's dreams. It's a joke. But what the ones that since I've been like off you know, sat in pretty much static for quite a few weeks, and watching a lot of TV, particularly in daytime, and you know, the over 50s plans for funeral plans. Oh my God. I'm
pleased you brought that up.
I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. Fucking hell. Look, I'm 48. I'm not even old enough yet. And yet I'm having it shoved down my throat every 2 minutes. Oh, that one. And, you know, that'll be my over 50 plan. Like these conversations that just aren't real. They're not even real. Oh, this come next door for you. It must. Oh, yes, it's my over 50 plan. Oh, like what Parky does on the telly. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, they don't even pay Parky anymore. They don't even pay Parky. They just mention him.
Oh,
they just have a big box of parsnips instead. Yeah.
Yeah. What? Oh, the other one, Jason, is equity release. Have you seen that one?
Yeah, there's a few of them in there where they.
Yeah, but the best one is, oh yes, well we have this new kitchen done with equity release, and the neighbours are brought around to see it, and then they said you could do some equity release as well, and then the trucks pull up outside next door because they've done some equity release, so that they can have a conservatory built. Like, what the fuck?
Hey, guys, I think we've managed to wake Webby up.
Have we?
Hey there, Paul. You look like you're muted at the minute.
Yeah, hey guys. I've just woke up, dozed off, sat up.
Well, I did say I better text Webby because I think he's probably fell asleep in his dinner, mate. So, yeah, camera's not on.
No, I need company. Yeah.
Whatever that was, Jason, unplug it.
I've unplugged it, don't worry.
Okay.
Did it hurt?
It did, yeah. Webby,
Sorry.
I have to ask, what is that silhouette you've got?
It's a ninja.
Okay. Is he holding a microphone?
No, it's a. I think it's a grappling hook that he's throwing, and that's the belt from the waistband of his gi. That's the belt that's hanging down there.
Right, okay, because I was just going to say, I want to be a ninja.
Well, I weren't in Thailand. Oh,
I wonder if that does out.
Apologies to anybody watching on anything that's visual, as they've just had a big picture of Jason's left armpit.
Yeah, sorry about that. I'm just trying to sort out this Facebook thing, sound out. It's because everything's been moved about and shifted. So I don't know whether anyone can hear me at the moment.
We can hear you, but I don't know about.
I'll chuck it on Facebook and see. Here we go.
What we've been talking about?
Well, Ade's been talking. We've been talking about all sorts, haven't we?
Yeah, NASA's birthday next Sunday.
Yeah, NASA. Yeah,
60 years old.
60 years old. Can you
pulling the wool over the world's eyes for 60 years and creating bullshit for people to watch on fucking television so that the American people don't mind paying them billions and billions and billions of fucking dollars to do jack shit.
Have you seen they've shut Yosemite Park?
No, I've not seen that. What's that for?
There's no media blackouts at the minute, but there's breaking news early saying that they were evacuating emergency measures were being put in place.
And where was that, Paul?
Yosemite.
They're talking about the super volcano, aren't they, again?
Oh, God, they're always fucking talking about it.
Something like 87,000, they say 87,000 people will be killed just on the eruption alone.
Well, if that caldera goes up in Yosemite, I think the human race is going to be very, very depleted very, very quickly, because it's not going to be a North American event. It's going to be a worldwide event. It'll put enough ash in the air to create what they call a nuclear winter.
Yeah.
You know, that basically mean the sun will go out for a few years. So essentially, any crops we've got, they're going to die. And as we know, the sun is pretty much the source of all life on this planet. So we're probably going to die, most of us, with it.
Well, can they just fucking wait till end of September because I'm off to Thailand?
I'm sure if you ask them nicely, they'll wait till after you've been to Thailand.
Do you think if I wrote to Trump and said, look, mate, can you stop fucking letting nuclear shit off underground to cause this volcano to go off? Because it's fucking doing me head in, this.
Yeah. He sounds a reasonable man. I'm sure he'd do that for you.
Oh, Trump?
Yeah.
Oh, what are you going to do for him, though?
I'll introduce him to my mate.
So, Jason, are you not convinced then? Are you not convinced that Trump's this big saviour that some people think that he is?
Right, of course I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced until he's saved us.
I've just seen a no shit Sherlock post in the YouTube chat, and it's from our good friend Andrew K. Fletcher. And he just says, on the TV news tonight, warning about the heat wave, and a doctor states that people are more likely to die in the heat if they take lots of pills. I kid you not.
You're kidding me.
Well, you're more likely to die if you take loads of pills, full stop. Doesn't matter whether it's fucking hot, cold, or whatever.
Yeah.
Some interesting stuff. Some weird stuff coming out today. There was the police helicopter was out over me for about 20 minutes. It turns out there was one stabbing. That was one stabbing. Then there was another stabbing later on. So we've already had 2 stabbings this afternoon. It's not normal. This doesn't happen. You know, in all the years, this has never happened in this town. Yeah, it's all coming off, and straight away all the local Facebookers are all, oh, bet they're immigrants, bet they're this, bet they're that, bet they're, and then it comes, you know, it's even people saying it's even the Russians. Everything that's going on in the world is just absolutely bonkers.
I think we should just fucking blame Jeremy Kyle.
You can't blame Jeremy. No, nobody can be blamed for Jeremy. Jeremy's Jeremy.
I'd be more inclined to blame Giles Brandreth, because I think it really is his fault. Everything. Yep, all of it.
Okay. Okay, you can't just say that. You've got to justify that.
Yeah, it was a bit random, that.
You've got to justify it. Come on.
Well, anyway, let's not justify that yet. Let's take a break. We've got about an hour, Mark. Webby's joined us. We've got a full set tonight. We've got Andy, Ade, Webby, and myself here on Raconteurs News. So you got 4 for the price of 1. Facebook's doing me head in, so I've switched the fucker off because it was doing me head in, and I couldn't get the audio to work, which were ridiculous. So I've turned it off. So you'll be able to watch us on the Google Hangout, but don't forget we are getting rid of the website very, very soon. So we'll play a record or two, and then we'll be back for the second hour.
Yeah, I just thought we'd start the musical break off with one from our friend Dave Von Kleist called "Are We Freer in America Today?"
Sinatra sings and the big band swings. Recent victory from the big one rings in the front of everybody's minds. Revving up the post-war boom, blushing brides and eager grooms, hula hoops, roller skates, all is well in these United States. Playing with my rabbit ears and black and white TV. But now we channel surf and pay the cable company. Are things freer in America today than they were just 40 years ago? Elvis Presley swings his hips, Marilyn puckers up her lips. All is well in Camelot. Cleaver's Nelson's apple pie, rockets shoot into the sky. Missile crisis, Vietnam, Agent Orange, Peter Pan. People taking interest, pushing for a change. But take a stand today and folks say you're deranged, yeah. Are we freer in America today than we were just 40 years ago?
Rockefeller, shifting gold, UN communist world control, Morgan, Rothschild, Warburg too. Got a little plan for you, a new world order, that's the plan. Every woman, child and man, Buddhist, Muslim, Christian, Jew, does what they are told to do.
Working hard to get my pay, quitting time another day. The big game's on and then the fights. Let's see what's on the news tonight. A big election, what's my choice? Doesn't matter, I'm just one voice. So much corruption, nothing's fair. They won't change, why should I care? I'm just hanging on, look out for number 1. And on the weekend maybe I can have some fun, yeah. Are things freer in America today than they were a couple years ago?
Broadcast stations we control, induced complacency to goal that people think that they are free. Distractions broadcast on TV are influence in Washington make people do what we want done. Eventually when we are through, they'll do just what we tell them to.
Corruption is enshrined, freedom falls for all mankind. Check the records, word and deed. Is there goal, control and greed? Common sense we should apply. Ask ourselves the question why. Integrity just falls away and we don't have a word to say. By and for the people it's supposed to be. But non-involvement slowly leads to tyranny, yeah. Are we freer in America today than we were 200 years ago.
Half a century ago, a Nazi bid for world control, identifying every Jew by numbers that they would tattoo. Today we have technology, and we've convinced them all to be submissive to their leadership and all receive a biochip.
Are we freer in America today than we were a couple years ago? Are we freer in America today than we were just 40 years ago? Are we freer in America today than we were 200 years ago?
Hear this! Gonna get rain, gonna have sunshine, gonna chase rainbows and chase the clouds away. And we're gonna make people, gonna make music, and we're gonna have a good time, 'cause we're gonna get high, 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 high.
I'm super fly with the rhymes I supply. Float like a butterfly high up in the sky. Stink like a bee before I touch the ground. Like Ali in his prime. Yeah, I'm loud, I'm proud. So you can another best, another twist before I get to it. Don't need to practice. What's gonna be, gonna be. Put me on your track list. I turn it to a hit list. Yeah, I know you like it. Come on, hit the back seat. I put it all in. Put your hands in the air. You feeling this? Oh yeah, I'm feeling this real vibe. I'm living in pain, bills, so I'm making me. It ain't a dream, I need the cream, you know what I mean. I'm fuckers, man, can't let them knock us, man. I'm gonna make it like a new bit, new whip. Don't know about this? You must be new this. I thought you knew this. I'm forever doing this, player.
I don't wanna take you back, 'cause we're gonna fall again. I don't wanna take you back, can we just be friends? I don't wanna take you back, 'cause we're gonna fall again. I don't wanna take you back, can we just be friends?
Bring it back.
Gonna get rain, gonna have sunshine, gonna chase rainbows, chase the clouds away.
Yeah.
And we're gonna make people,
Hey,
gonna make music,
come on.
and we're gonna have a good time, 'cause we're gonna get high, 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 high.
Rhymes to the microphone, boo, boo. I do what I want to. What the hell you gonna do? Mic check, 1, 2, 1, 2. I represent, this is what I do. To any beat, anyway, I'ma give it to you. Best beware, open your ears to the truth as I push. I'm the man, I list the plan, fool. Any verse that I kick is for your mind, fool. I'm a pimp, so I'll be up in your mind, friend. Don't be a lame or trick up in this rap game. What's the use of the fame when you ain't paid? I go back to a decade when I got made, got paid, got laid for the rhymes I laid on the regular. I flow spectacular, original. My dope is natural, straight out the underground. Yeah, I'ma give
Gonna
it to you.
get rain, gonna have sunshine, gonna chase rainbows and chase the clouds away. And we're gonna make people, gonna make music, and we're gonna have a good time, 'cause we're gonna get high, 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 high.
Big thank you, Heath West, there for that record. Don't know, I can't remember what it's called. What's it called, Andy? That one? It's Mike needs to be on, mate, before you do any of that.
Of course it
Some
does.
things never change.
It's called Summer Rain. It's the one that Heath won the contest and won all that fantastic gear for.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. Summer Rain from Heath. Yeah, you won an award-winning song from Heath. So welcome back to Raconteurs News. We've got a full house tonight. Me, Webby, Ade and Andy are here. And in the first hour, I mean, Webby was mostly asleep for the first hour. So
were most of the listeners.
Perhaps you'd like to kick us off in this second hour, Webby. What's on your mind, my friend?
Well, as I started off, everything seems to have gone bonkers today with You know, people were reporting there was stabbings all over the place. We all know about London and things like that. How it seems like there's a cycle how these things seem to I don't know, it's like falling over itself. I was talking to Andy earlier on just off air that everything just seems to have gone haywire in all different kinds of places, and people have started to go, what is really happening over there? You know, there's people seeing news reporters stood on a hill on the Israeli border with other Israelis cheering as they're firing rockets off into Gaza, as if the fireworks. And it questions the mentality of what is going on. You know, it's if people was actually paying attention and looking, it's that blatant now. You couldn't come up with any other conclusion that there's something that is being pushed, and it's being pushed from very quickly now.
I'll tell you what occurred to me as the real what the fuck event in the Middle East this week is the fact that the white helmets are being evacuated from Syria.
Yeah.
And they're supposedly going to be given asylum or refugee status in this country. Now, as we've had Eva Bartlett tell us, we've had Patrick Henningsen, Sabili, they've all been telling us that the White Helmets are a terrorist organization as a front, as a backup for Al-Nusra, Al-Qaeda, whatever name they use this particular week, ISIS, IS, ISIL, Daesh, all of those things. And, suddenly they're going to bring them all back to good old Blighty and give them all a council house.
And we're not that well. These are the award-winning. Don't forget, you know, the BBC can't stop cheering for these people, and yet we're having our rights taken from the very people that these people are connected with. You know, there's no documentation. There's no evidence to show all these lives that these people have saved, but there's evidence to show that there's been faked. Things going on with these white helmets, and the areas that have been liberated, the people themselves are saying that there was no difference between the white helmets and the so-called moderate rebels that we, as the UK, along with the US, Saudi Arabia, Israel, all these other countries are funding arming and training. Yet we're meant to hate the people that are coming over. People don't even bother going looking. How many people must know of the Kalergi plan now? There's something not right about the whole European EU type thing and all this myth stuff about Brexit. I did a post yesterday about austerity. You know, they're claiming that they need to do more cuts because this austerity stuff, it's in a debt-based economy. It's a myth. You can't have this austerity, and you can't pay bills because it's debt with debt. So something's got to give here now, lads. There's, you know, they're trying to get blood from a stone. It's coming impossible for a lot of families and a lot of people now.
How are you finding it, Ade? Because you're on the cutting edge, really, of this sort of money lending and that sort of thing. How are you finding it on the front line? Is it becoming more and more difficult to collect from people?
No, I wouldn't say that. On the face of it, not a lot's changed, apart from there's some new laws coming to protect people. And for some people who worked in the industry and for some companies, lock, stock and barrel, they found it really difficult because let's say their ethics prior to the laws being brought in probably weren't the best. They've not really affected me and the company I work for that much, little bits, because we were basically being straight up about what we do anyway. We do find there are more and more people who people used to get the benefits stopped for a week, 2 weeks. Now it's months.
Yeah.
I had a lady the other day who they've got a new postman, and like a lot of estates, there are, you might have I don't know, what can I think of, Duncan Road, Duncan Avenue, and Duncan Crescent. Well, this lady lives on, it's not Duncan, but on something road. Well, the Crescent's just round the corner, so she didn't get a letter. And this letter was telling her that she got to go for some meeting at the DSS or whatever it's called now. And of course, she never got this letter. So all of a sudden one day, no money goes in a bank account. So she rings him up and said, why is no money? Oh, you didn't come to your meeting. What meeting? Didn't know I had a meeting. We've had a new post and they are just not interested. That lady has had her money sanctioned for 16 weeks.
Jesus Christ.
Not surprising though, is it?
Not a fortnight or a week, or, well, can you get a letter from the post office just telling us, just to explain, which she actually offered to do, because the postie, by the way, was sacked. It was somebody who was brought in to cover holidays.
Sacked.
I
thought what he did then.
Hey, yeah, I didn't. Listen, anything I say that was funny certainly wasn't intentional. It was just accidental. So fuck off. But my point is that it's any excuse at all to stop somebody's payments to them. And the amount of people that we come across who, some of the benefits, you give them all the information, they work it out, and then they tell you how much you're likely to get. Mm-hmm. And then a year later, they'll send you a letter saying, oh, I'm sorry, we got it wrong, and you owe us 4,000 quid. What? They made the mistake.
Yeah.
I see this more and more and more and more. And if there isn't an agenda, there's some fucking thick bastards working that department.
Well, there isn't.
Both.
Yeah, but the other thing as well is, sadly, for whatever reason, there are quite a lot of people who are genuinely sick and unable to work. There will always be people who try to get money for nothing. And so I understand how there has to be certain tests or documentation from doctors or hospitals or whatever that have got to happen in order for somebody to take money, not that it exists, from the state so that they've got some money in their pocket. And I'm using all these words in order to keep them and their family. But when the people that are doing that aren't even medically qualified, what the fuck is that about?
It's
you've got somebody who is, most people who are on any kind of long-term disability or sickness haven't got one ailment that's quite simple. And they're not on one lot of medication for one condition. It's very complicated. And for a layperson, even to put the information into a computer that's supposed to decide it is bollocks. So what I see happening more and more and more is whether there's an agenda or whether they're just thick fuckers or whether the system is completely fucked, I don't know. But the people who don't benefit and the people who are given all the hardship is the people who can least afford it in the first place.
Yeah. Well, you say about people not being medically qualified. I had a very interesting conversation about, well, a little while ago with a good friend of mine who I'm going to be very careful not to identify them, but they are a medical professional But as a little bit of an experiment, they decided to go for a job as an Atos assessor. And I could not believe some of what I was hearing that they were telling me, and what they're not supposed to do, and what they're not allowed to do, and what they're not allowed to take note of, and what they're everything they must disregard, and all the little tricks they're supposed to try to catch people out. It's just, oh man, it really makes you. I wish I could say more, and I think at some point this individual will be in a position where they're going to perhaps come on and give us an interview and talk about their experiences. But at the moment, that really is a no-no, because it would kind of blow the lid off what they're doing.
Well, people who've been assessed by those people, there's people who are dead. They're saying that they've been found fit and well, and the letter has landed on the doorstep 2 days after they died, telling them that they were fit for work and they were stopping the benefits. And on the other aspect of that, Atos is being used by many companies, both private and public, to make people redundant, to pay people off, to get people who are on a higher wage and replace them with people on a much lower wage. And they're using the Atos system to do this. It's contracts for the boys again, but they're doing it to deplete the society, to grind it down. They've done this all throughout history.
Yep.
They've done it a lot slower this time, but look at the Weimar Republic. Look at where that went when the economy had collapsed. It's all paper money. It doesn't matter how many pieces of paper you've got. Every single one is a promise, and people won't accept it when the economy, when they collapse the economy. It's got to be, you've got chance to start looking into things. Do something now. Look into something. Be prepared, because I know people who didn't see the 2008 collapse coming, and also know people who did see it coming and prepared for it. And some of them, you can never be too prepared for this stuff, because as you can see in Ireland now, the court system is so slanted. You know, the Irish girls and guys over there have been fighting tooth and nail for 10 years. That's how long I've been in touch with these people, because they were the testing ground. And then if you can't look at that and think, I need to get something in preparation for this, I don't know, you might as well just walk around with your eyes closed, because they've always done this. It's the same thing throughout history, and that's what this chaos is going to be. The upper echelons are now, all these bloodlines that all come together, they're all fighting for the one control of all this chaos that they've created, and then they're going to offer that solution. It's, everything, the writing's on the wall. People have got to start turning Love Island off and having a look every now and then.
Well, just getting back to the benefits and claiming and stuff. A member of my family has had a stroke, lung cancer. Just trying to think what else she's had. Anyway, she's 80, and she had to go for an assessment because she got a mobility car. But of course, before that, she had to go for this medical assessment. And when she went, there was just an unmanned reception area downstairs telling anybody that had turned up for this particular assessment to go up to the 4th floor. But there was no lift. It was just stairs.
Mm-hmm.
So she just sat there and waited. And about 2 or 3 minutes after her appointment time, this young lady came downstairs and said, "Can I help you?" She said, "Well, yeah, I'm here for an appointment, but I can't get up all them stairs." And that's exactly what they'd done. If you get to the top of them stairs for your appointment, you fucking failed.
Yeah.
And you clearly are well, and you're not, And I think, well, yeah, in some cases that might be right. But I'm sure that, if there was a fire and the only way out was on that roof, there are people who you know, and maybe rather than have death by fire, might crawl up them stairs. But it is a bit sort of underhand, and you know, especially
It's disgraceful.
when it's non-medical people that are assessing you.
Yeah, it's about balance sheets. I know for a fact in the public sector that all the new managers that are coming in, they're all working across. It's all across the board, Ed. It's all on about balances. People are sat in an office in London or wherever, and they're saying, if we make all these cuts on this, and all these figures change to this, look at all that money we save. But when that money changes, that's when it starts affecting people who. I've never known so many people personally who've taken their lives or attempted to take their lives within the last 10 years. Never known it. It's become an epidemic. There's adults killing themselves for all kinds of reasons, debts, children being used as weapons. You see it everywhere. It's in chaos. And what do these government departments do? They make more cuts. They make it worse. They put the baton down on everybody. Then the old people up who don't work, and they show people as an example, people who don't give a shit, people who talk about fundamentalist Muslimics, people who never had a chance to even start to wonder what's going on with this life. And they're now, all this is now being whipped up in a divide and conquer situation. And there's nothing, you can't say anything more than the paedophiles, the grooming gangs, all the Tommy Robinson situation coming into that. There's an agenda being whipped up here, and a lot of people are missing it because they're getting sound bites and not getting the full narrative. And as long as they're still plugged into those sound bites and they can justify everything, then it's the status quo, isn't it? Until something happens to those people, that's only when people make a choice, isn't it? You put into a fight or flight mode, then that's up to you.
The thing is, Webby, while everybody's being forced to scrape round on the floor for the few crumbs, what the only thing that they got the mindset on is the few crumbs.
Well, but we're stood on the fucking loaf. We are the loaf of bread. We're stood looking at crumbs when we're stood on it because we're allowing these people to tell us that we're worth nothing, that we owe people something when we're actually creditors. And the only reason that we're being able to use anything that people try and call money is because of our worth, and that worth is being facilitated into a currency where somebody will accept it as a promise to pay for something in the future. And we're signing agreements that we're going to thank the bank for facilitating this and give them the fee for doing it, but we're going to agree to pay ourselves back. And if we can't do it, we'll forfeit the house. We'll give it up because I want to make sure I pay that trust back. And that's all that's happening. But people don't believe it. People believe banks are lending money. Until you can bridge that gap and it gets you angry, or it puts you in a situation you've got all around the country. You've got Rekha Patel, you've got Ved Chowdhury. They're all having they're having police turning up with bailiffs, with paperwork that is not good enough. We've seen from Chrissy Morris's court transcripts about where the judge asked the utility company for what warrant were you working on? Or it might not have been utilities, but what warrants are you working on? Can I see the original? That's it. Well, no, this isn't it. Where's the original that you actually operated on? It says that's all we get. It's either that or it comes sent via the tablet. And the judge states that it must have a signature. This is not a warrant. And she asked the police officer, did you not investigate the council for this warrant application and the paperwork to show this? Said it wasn't there. And the solicitor then said, oh, well, I'll just go through the particulars of the case. And the judge said, you haven't got a case. Now, that's just in the transcript. Imagine now using that being found by a judge that you can show to a bailiff, and you then take that bailiff to a private prosecution. That's one win. That is done across the board because everybody knows that the bailiffs are not operating to their own legislation because either all of the courts or part of the court system that they're being shepherded through is helping them. And it's the same with the banks. The executive, the banks and the corporations and the judiciary work hand in hand to beat us, to, you know, pummel us into the ground. That is what is happening, and we can't get remedy there. And that's why at least there's people coming at this from so many angles, and they're trying to get the common law courts back, because that's our remedy. If we can get enough people generated into enough interest in that, it's going to be easy. But you've got all these distractions going on, and people don't really know where to look and what to do. And then you've got people saying, well, I know everything. Well, the best thing I ever learned was how little I know. I learn something new every day. You can't say I just know everything and then sit back, because those people who've said that to me, I tried to show them stuff that would change their minds, because it must change their minds. But they say, I say, have you read this? No, I've not. Then how can what I've said be a load of rubbish? You've not even looked at this. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely, Paul. And before we get really stuck into that, I'd just like to read a few comments out from the YouTube chat. We've got quite a busy chat there. We've got quite a few new faces in there. We've got Dave Jarvu joined us. I know he normally listens on Facebook, but yeah, thanks for switching over, Dave. Facebook's really been a pain in the arse tonight. We've joined by Kendo Taylor. Now, if I remember right, that's an old blast from the past. I used to have a chat with Kendo when I used to go on Kip's Clips Hangout, and that was around the time I started doing Enemy with him. So that's what, good 3 years ago. And he says the DWP is now run by Serco, which would explain an awful lot of what's going on there. And Dave Jarvu is saying they have rules they're supposed to follow. If you read them, it's like reading a comedy sketch. And then Jones come in and said she recently helped a friend to request a mandatory reconsideration. She's been ill with various issues for years, and the assessor awarded her no points. Gonna have to prepare for a tribunal now. And Dave's said, go to a group on Facebook called FACE. They'll help you, Joan. Mahat's saying that his internet connection's pretty dodgy and it's buffering all the time, so he can't listen. I did send him the Spreaker link in the hope that he could maybe listen on audio only, so I hope you got that, Matt. And Dave also says, and Joan, look up dishonest assessments. We have case law and we can use it against them now. So that Joan is Joan, who we had on the other week from People's Internet Radio. And I will give her a shout out tonight, because I know her and Graham are really digging deep into the 5G and what we can do about it. So I think Joan starts at 9 o'clock. It's on peoplesinternetradio.com. I believe the show's called Happy Meanderings. And Joan and Graham, they're top people. They're really sincere, and they're always trying to help someone. So it will be well worth going and having a listen to them. And on the subject of 5G, I happened to have a chat with Mark Steele today, and provided he can get himself a new microphone tomorrow, he's going to be joining us tomorrow. So we'll be getting an update on quite a few of the dodgy goings on that Mark's come across since he last spoke to us.
Good stuff.
Excellent.
I was thinking about Mark Steele this weekend, and I was thinking about dragging him on, and then you sent me a message saying that you got him on. So yeah, it should be interesting. We'll see what this 5G stuff is all about. I don't know if anybody's noticed any effects that they might have had if it's been introduced in their area. I know that there's a lot of things on top of lampposts and stuff, and people are quite concerned about the stuff that these things are going to be capable to do. And of course the Internet of Things, which is going to be incorporated into that 5G. But then I suppose everything will be everything in your house will all be going through your smart meter. So I think the best thing to do is just to stay away from anything that's got smart in it. You know, get your fridge that's just a normal fridge. You know, don't connect it to internet. Don't have it on your. You see, these people are just so stupid that they don't see that. You know, if somebody invents something and give it you for free, that there's got to be something in it for them. And if there's something in it for them, then you're paying. You're the one that's paying. You're the consumer. So if you've got like if you've paid 800 quid for a fridge that that is hooked up to the internet and can tell you when you're running out of milk or butter or I don't know, fucking when your sperm sample is going to go off because you've got it stored in fridge so that you can impregnate your missus if you meet her, you know, because you've got Tinder now on your phone. So on your smartphone, by the way, which you know. Then you'll probably have there'll soon be infections, sexually transmitted infections from apps like Tinder and stuff like that. It's just getting so ridiculous, but they seem to lap it up, and the more and more intrusive that things become, the more that kids, in particular kids, think, how cool is that? Look at that, that's this phone. I can look on my phone, it tells me exactly where I've been all day, every day. Fuck, you know, you've got to be insane to you know, you might as well walk around naked, don't you? Yeah. You might as well walk around naked. It's just absolute insanity, and yet they lap it up and they lap it up and they lap it up. So yeah, I was thinking about 5G this weekend, and I was thinking about I'd seen a couple of posts that Mark Steele had made, so I was thinking it would be interesting to get him on. But you beat me to it, Andy. It's probably due to I'm a bit out of practice at the moment.
You've not had anything important to worry about, have you?
Well, you know, they were my grass needed cutting.
Is that a euphemism?
Listen, I'll tell you what I did do. I did the last night that I was in hospital, and because I'd got this open wound and everything, I'd not really. I'd been washing myself very well, and it was right at the last night, and it was lights out, and I pulled up curtains around me, and I asked nurse, I says, can you get me a bowl of hot water? She gets me a bowl of hot water, and I just got my bollocks out and just give him a really good wash and a shave as well, which was awesome because I was doing it sort of like by the light that allows you to breathe, but don't disturb everyone else, and my phone light, which I'd got perched on you know, that thing that they put your dinner on over your bed. I got it perched on that, and I'm thinking to myself, that's going to fall into my bucket of water. It's going to knacker my phone up. All this because I was shaving my pubes, and I'm going home tomorrow. But I just had to do it, man. It was just a big disgrace.
Smart meter.
Yes.
What's the latest one they've got on at the minute? We can power a city the size of, what is it, fucking Scunthorpe, Mablethorpe and Goole or something, as long as you all get a free smart meter.
Well, they were a report on BBC the other day that were on BBC, and it were saying that smart meters, first of all, nobody were having them, nobody wanted them. Secondly, anybody that had one was reporting that they were the savings that they were making were, in fact, a lot of people reported they were spending more money when they got a smart meter. Yeah. But the savings that a smart meter allegedly affords somebody after they've had it fitted has now been reduced down to something £7 a year. So you'll save £7 a year, and it's quite, and that's not cost effective because people are, you know, these meters cost a lot of money to get into people's houses. So the more that we resist them, we've got to resist them, because you don't want a situation. We're talking about when Webby's talking so passionately, and he talks about utilities and they're having to go and get warrants and things like that, and people are opposing it, and people are causing them a load of grief, and there are a lot of people having a lot of wins and things like that in this court system. Now, you imagine if everyone's got a smart meter, they don't have to do that. You know what I mean? They just switch it straight off. You know, they just switch you off. They don't need to get a warrant to get into your house, because they just switch it off because
Yeah.
you're connected to smart grid. Isn't that true, Webby?
Yeah, well, you're talking about that 5G stuff, the connection with how they're talking about the transhuman stuff and the hive mind. You've got a grid of military-grade technology controlling a hive mind that's hooked up to every smart piece of technology. And they're on about flooding their own system with nanotechnology and uploading consciousness. This isn't me sat here making this shit up. This is them saying, this is what we want. This is what we're going to do. You, instead of watching a TV screen and playing FIFA, plug yourself into the game and play. You know, the messing about with a lot of things. You're messing about with the very creation of whatever life is. You know, this divine spark that people have, they're going to upload themselves to a computer that's going to keep the consciousness completely alive in a fake environment where everybody wants to be. Where is this showing of where have we seen this before? You know, if you're looking at taking all this stuff on board where they're going to a cashless society, well, who's going to control all this? What is the agenda behind it?
It's the same old story. You give somebody the power to switch something on, you also give them the power to switch it off.
Well, we were talking about the Bible stuff going on as well, and taking the mark of the beast. Man will want to die but cannot. Your mind's uploaded to a computer system called a hive mind where everybody's can talk to everybody, and that's in a control grid. Maybe your consciousness will never die. Maybe you'll just be stuck in a computer loop and never learn to grow, and you'll learn maybe no empathy, no growth, no nothing. It's a dangerous game people are playing because it's all about theories again, because nobody knows exactly how it's going to turn out. But for
you see,
people to persist, it's only going to take for good people to do now.
But you see, Webby, you know what you're talking about here, and you're talking about people that are, when you talk about a hive consciousness, and they're going to try and, well, I don't know what they're going to try and do. How do you transfer consciousness from a body into something that's going to keep it going? Exactly. You see, that's all plastic sort of science shit, and that's the difference. Whereas if they went to, you see, that sort of thing is what people think is cool. You know, all these people that are like science fanatics, these people that are fundamentalist science people.
Yeah. Portrayed that way, isn't it?
All that, and they will steer clear of anything like you know, your hive consciousness of people getting together and people being in a conscious state. Because if you look at nature, that hive consciousness, that consciousness, that creative consciousness where everyone's together, where everybody's in. If all you've got to do is look at one of them amazing sequences that you see on TV where there's like thousands of birds and they're all flying in sequence and they're all so close together, but they're not crashing into each other. It's because the consciousness as they're in the group is all one thing, so that they'll steer away naturally away from it, or whether it's something that because they're doing it, that in their consciousness, to them it seems really slow. And so it's easy to stay away from it, but to us, obviously, it's really fast, you know, and that could be something that's relative to the lifespan of the bird compared to us. So anything that they're doing might appear to in their life, as they think about it, would appear to be as long as what ours is, or it would to them it would, but to us it's a completely different thing. So, you know, there's lots of different examples in where people, not so much people, but creatures have got this consciousness that is it all seems together. It all seems like they're all working together, and they've all got the same ideas, and they can all stay out of each other's way. And it's for me that's something that people that are so fundamentally married to science can't ever get a grasp of, and that's something that they're missing out on. Because you know what, if someone showed me a scientific formula that proves something, then I'd listen to them and I'd look, but the other way around doesn't work. You know, it's just it's science for me is all right. There's things in science, and science has been great in certain areas, and for God's sake, I'm reaping the rewards of science at the moment by like 17 days later, I'm at home talking to you people, half my leg missing. So I do understand that, but you know, there are people that are just so blinded by it that they won't look at anything else. And I think that's probably where we're going wrong.
Well, the science part of all this, that's been part of the problem, because everything seems to have all been put into theory. You know, it's difficult to understand how you can upload a consciousness, but if you upload your electrical brain pattern, I mean, they're claiming now that there's computers that can, the software that they're using can convert your brain patterns into words, so they can tell what you're thinking about now. Now, if you're going to then upload that into a network that's going to become like a wireless internet called the hive mind, that's going to be controlled or within the 5G grid, if you're uploading into that, then if you take that chance and do that just for those, what you were saying, Jason, about how they promote it, as how good it is, and all these science geeks are all just focused on, look at what it can do, and it shows us all these benefits and what appeals to our entertainment needs and all this kind of stuff. But it's like the wolf in sheep's clothing. Come on, you know, the spider in the parlour, come into my parlour. People will either see it or they won't, Jason. You know, you can't keep telling them this, because when people know everything, you might as well just hold your breath. Like we've said so many times, haven't we? Until those people get punched in the mouth and kicked in the balls themselves, they won't decide to do anything, you know.
Yeah, just for me, I just think I think the people are being led in towards a scientific point of view, and look, I'm not a religious guy, but I think religion has a really important part to play in how societies are, on how to, and because there is a certain amount of control and morality that you need in society, isn't there? Otherwise, it's just fucking utter chaos. And so I think religions are good for that sort of thing. I think they're important. They've got a role to play. They have a value. But for me, there's no particular religion. But it's how everything's been dragged away from religion. I mean, I grew up in the 80s. I was in high school in the 80s. And I remember, you know, I think first year we did religious education, RE, and then after that it was dropped. And it was some, you know, I enjoyed it because I enjoyed all this, you know, the Bible stories and all that sort of thing, and reading them, in the form that they were, you know, in the form that they were given to us at that point. But it just seemed to be stopped, and religion seems to now have become. If you're talking to somebody who's talking about science, and you go to them from a religious point of view or from any other point of view, they'll laugh at you, and they'll laugh at you as if you're somebody who from Dark Ages, whereas actually they're the ones from the Dark Ages. They're not. I'm prepared to listen to you and to what you've got to say, and if you can prove what you've got to say, or if you've got a theory, I'll listen to it. But you're not prepared to listen to me or listen to any other point of view other than it's a scientific thing, which, you know, it's complete nonsense. Complete nonsense that everything's got a scientific. You see, that's where what we're talking about here, Webber. You know, when you're talking about the electrical impulses, they're talking about they'll be able to get these electrical impulses and be able to know what you're thinking. But for me, I don't think they will.
Well, the pioneer is showing the technology. Like that,
say that again.
They're showing the technology. You can go and view what they're talking about. They're showing how it works now. It's very in its early stages, but this is all there. You can go and research it yourself. So I can see where you're coming from it, Jason. But these people and the scientists that they're using to push it, believe and are showing they are taking steps to this, and they're currently trying to promote it as this transhumanism thing. It's a cult thing. It's that religious thing that you're talking about. Religion was meant to be a guidance, but that has been taken over and bastardized in so many different ways. It's like civil law. You don't know what part of the religion you're coming from because it depends on who's teaching it you. Fortunately, I didn't get any of that, so I've been able to go through all my life just picking here, picking there, and trying to pick up all the spiritual stuff rather than being taught it. And it's showing there's a definite good versus evil thing going on in a spectrum that we can't see. It's going on all around us because there are good and bad people, and you can see how the bad is spilling over, and then you get some of the good coming in because there are good people being forced into positions. Hopefully we're going to have a lady called Michelle Young on soon, who's chasing after 800 million, I think it's 800 million pounds of assets that have been stolen. Her husband was bankrupted and stolen, put in all these offshore accounts, and she's got all the evidence to show that these assets are still there. And as she's a wife, she should get them all back, but they've all been took away. The police won't investigate his suicide, and I put that in speech marks, because where he's come out of this window, he seems to have took a running jump and jumped to the right to impale himself on some railings. The police say it's suicide, but they won't investigate it. If somebody like Michelle with 800 million, where do I stand? You know, an ex-taxi driver, ex-window cleaner, when armed police are standing around me, who I'm meant to be able to report property theft to, and I've done nothing wrong. I've not got her kind of money. So it can happen to anybody. This is why you can see the good people are trying to do things. The good people are getting attacked from all left, right, and centre, and you can't work out who the goodies are or who are the baddies at the minute. There's a lot of furore going on, and we're just going to have to see where the pieces lie, I suppose. Just keep swimming.
Yeah, I've got an interesting comment, particularly on that from Deja Vu. He's saying the people we deal with are not reasonable or rational. They cannot be negotiated with, and they will get violence once challenged. And just going back to what Jason was saying about not everything has a scientific explanation, that really reminds me of a quote that I think I heard from Grant Cameron a while ago. It was when he was discussing the phenomena that he investigates with someone who's had a great deal of experience in this, and also connections to people who know what's really going on. And he said, how can you measure something when there isn't any there? That kind of sums up, I think, what you were sort of hinting at there, Jason.
Can I just
you can do it in theory, though, can't you? You can do it in mathematical theory, but you can't do it in reality. Webby,
this is what I wanted to say. You know, with a lot of science, they all rely on a big bang. What was it, 17 billion years ago, however many it was?
Big bang. And then something happened to now. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they all rely on Einstein's theory of relativity in order to back explain all the bullshit that they can't fucking explain.
Yeah.
You know, and then they tell us things like I don't know.
You got history.
You what? Sorry.
Taking control of history.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and then they say, "Oh, well, you know, it's, when we've got these Darwin's theory, and you've got what was it? Parallel evolution, where you've got two creatures both existing on two completely different continents.
Yeah,
and they're supposed to have evolved in a parallel way. What a load of fucking shit.
Well, it's the same with the language. You know, we're finding the same languages and symbols found all over the world in all these different cultures. Yet that's meant to have sprouted organically, just like the theory of evolution. So there's a lot of questions being raised, but because everybody knows that that's true, because we've all been taught it, there's no questions about it.
Yeah, because nobody ever questions it. But I think, you know, we've said this loads and loads and loads of times. It's all theory.
Yeah.
Well, I've got a theory. My shit doesn't smell.
Yeah, but that's
not to me.
It's not really a fact, is it, eh?
No.
On the subject of what you were saying, Paul, about the different, the same language seeming to be present all over the world, thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of years ago. I had a listen to Max Egan's most recent podcast over the weekend, and I found that absolutely fascinating because he was talking about the indigenous populations throughout the world that have been one by one exterminated by, I don't know what he points the finger at the Jesuits. I think some people would maybe say the Vatican, but is that the same thing? I don't know. But it appears that these ancient civilizations or indigenous people that were genocided for whatever reason, they all seem to be able to have one root language. And oddly enough, that was the Magyar language, which is the early foundations of Hungarian. I mean, Finnish is quite a bizarre language, and it appears to have its roots in Magyar, which is not the Indo-European language that we all speak. So what the hell was going on there, and what on earth were they trying to cover up? I really would like to get dug into that a bit further and find out more about that.
Raises questions when you're finding Egyptian symbols and stuff like that in South Wales. You know, you're finding this all over the world. This isn't coincidental. There's something. Maybe it goes back to when all the languages were confused and they all went off in different places. All these bloodlines trace back to there, and these bloodlines believe that they are part of a heavenly God. And it seems that somewhere along the line that this heavenly God that they believe, especially when you're looking towards the secret societies like the Freemasons, who they worship is Lucifer. Lucifer, as everything has always been taught, is the devil. This Satan is whatever you want to call him. But these come as dark energies, and people believe in these dark energies, whether you or I or anybody else does. These people believe in it, and it's a power of intention. If you're going into that dark force and you're willing to do what thou wilt, that is the whole of the law. If you're willing to do anything and sacrifice anything to have what you want, and it depends where you're coming from. It's a dangerous game that people play, and it's easily distracted because you can poo-poo that. Nobody sees, nobody can see it, nobody can prove or disprove it.
Well, you see, what you were saying about like Egyptian writing in Wales, I know I've read about this, and apparently what it was is that the people of Wales used to row English people, well-to-do English people, over to Egypt for their holidays, and they used to row them over, and once or twice, sometimes they'd pick up like a tea towel while they were there. You know, a picture of Egypt on it, and like a pharaoh and like a cat or something, because they like cats, don't they? And then they'd take it back. They'd tuck it in the loincloth, and then they'd roll back with some more tourists that were on the way back from Egypt back to England, and then they'd drop them off, and then slaughter all the English people. And nickel their memorabilia that they'd picked up in Egypt. So
yeah, but it had to stop because of the copyright.
It's funny you bring that up though, Jason, because one of these people must have brought themselves back a sarcophagus and then done an ancient pagan burial on this sarcophagus, yet on the inside of it was all Egyptian writing. So somebody must have gone over there for a coffin. That must have cost them a few quid for shipping.
You never know, do you? I mean, could
have been on Amazon Prime.
In the days before the EU and a sarcophagus, you wouldn't have to pay the import duty that you would do now from outside the EU. So it might have been that anyway.
It was Amazon Prime Day the other day. They must have done it on that day.
Anyway, I think, lads, we're right at the very end of the show. It's nearly 9 o'clock. Andy, do you want to finish up or what? We've got a show tomorrow, haven't we? Tell us about tomorrow night. We've got. Are we all back tomorrow night? And I know we've got a show on. So, Andy, why don't we finish us off, mate?
Yeah.
Way.
Tomorrow night, we've got Mark Steele coming back to give us an update on the latest happenings in the fight against 5G. And Paul's got us a guest lined up for next Monday, haven't you, Paul?
Yeah, that's Jason Leosatos.
Right. Okay. Can you tell us anything about him?
He's been involved with the Alternative View and the Basis project, but everything around that, we've discussed this, Andy, about the Basis project. They are, rather than just sticking to all the UFO and all that kind of stuff, they have branched out where they're now interviewing about politics and things like that. It's been very interesting to see, because there's a lot of other places who have been on the radio and things like that, how organic their particular platform, like ourselves, has started to grow. And they're starting to get people. We seem to be, there's a circuit of interviews going around at the minute. You know, we've had the likes of John Wedger on recently. We've had him on twice. Now he's becoming quite prominent. He's doing a lot to prove, to show all this stuff that's going on with the cover up of the police. He's put his life on the line. Now apparently he feels that he's being attacked from certain quarters. You've got Brian Harvey stepping into the fray now with what he's showing is just documented evidence. You can't see all this evidence, but there's people going to speak to him. He's showing them stuff. He showed snippets that have raised a few questions, not about John Wedger, but they've raised a few questions. Now, people are wanting to discuss that, and yet some parties do not want to discuss it with other parties. So it's going to be interesting to see, because again, that could be another distraction, or it could be something real and there could be nothing in it. But if we can't talk about it, then it just leaves for all this speculation, and it's dividing people. You can see it dividing people just organically. So it'll have to be something we'll keep our eye on.
Yeah, that'll be a fascinating one. And then on Tuesday next week, we've got Kaz Clark and Gary Jones coming on to bring us up to speed on the Penturk UFO incident in South Wales back in 2016, which is one I'm really, really looking forward to, because Kaz seems a very special witness, and I think once you hear a story, you'll realise why I'm saying that. But tomorrow night, we're back with Mark Steele, and so that's me, Jason. I don't know if you'll be on, Ade, but I think you're busy tomorrow. Yeah, you're busy tomorrow night, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm not available tomorrow, lad.
So we'll be back 7 p.m. tomorrow night, folks. So don't forget to like and share the broadcast if you like and want to share it. And also, if you press that little bell thing that's somewhere on the YouTube page, you'll get a notification pop up on your screen when we go live or when we've got a new episode upload. So when the website's gone, that'll be an easy way to keep in touch with us. So thanks, everybody. Thanks, guys. Been a fascinating night. And thanks for all the contributions from the chat room. We'll see you tomorrow night, same time, 7 o'clock. Good night.
Hello, this is Wes, and I listen to Raconteurs News. Making a goddamn nuisance of myself, poking my nose in everybody's business. Oh God, will I ever learn? 'Cause it always backfires on me. I can't control myself no more. So what do I do? Just stay and live and go out. Every day is trouble. Every day is trouble for me. Is it my voice or my face or the... 'Cause something's getting me noticed in a bad way. I must say, I ain't looking for a shit, but it finds me. Particularly when I'm out driving. Slow down, you know. It's a runabout, mate, not a racetrack. How the fuck did you pass your test? You're a pest. You got my heart beating in my chest. No wonder I'm so irate. Why don't you fucking indicate? I wish I had a shit gun ferret at your window, bitch. Making a goddamn nuisance of myself, poking my nose in everybody's business. Oh God, will I ever learn? 'cause it always backfires on me. I can't control myself no more. So what do I do? Just stay and never go out. Every day is trouble. Every day is trouble for me. So I drive and get my shit done quick. Don't wanna waste too much time on the streets with the pricks. I know they're gonna take my energy. Give me road rage, then I commit a felony. Score some weed, then I drive home readily. Hang my car keys up and calm down steadily. Lays on my mind when I let them get to me. Load of bongs, roller J, get stone, write a melody. Start getting high, having less of the hunches. Put it on hold while I answer the munchies. Get about the gigs while I'm grinding the punches. Really need to learn just to roll with the punches.
Algún día me perdonan, aquí te estaré esperando, porque yo era muy feliz cuando tú abrías los ojos. Andaba por la noche y andaba muy perdido, me faltaban que tus ojos me mostraran el camino, porque yo era muy feliz cuando tú abrías los ojos.
Making a goddamn nuisance of myself. Poking my nose in everybody's business. Oh God, will I ever learn? 'Cause it always backfires on me. I can't control myself no more. So what do I do? Just stay and never go out. Every day is trouble. Every day is trouble for me. Every day is trouble. Every day is trouble. Making a goddamn nuisance of myself. Poking my nose in everybody's business. Oh God, will I ever learn? 'Cause it always backfires on me. I can't control myself no more. So what do I do? Just stay and never go out. Every day is trouble. 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 Every day is trouble for me.